Right, it's Monday, December 18th, just following up on Adobe, just showing you as we come to about an hour to go in trading, prices worked all the way back up to over 600 now, towards the, that first bar high. There's definitely a selling tail in here, so hard to say if it's going to break through that high, but just to show you, this is kind of a classic red to green type of trade. I bought it here at this lower blue line. I scaled out along the way, and however you wanted to play it, it certainly, after this move lower, followed through higher. And it's a classic example when the stock gapped up big, gave you a 2-up day from yesterday, and immediately went up with a big green bar. You have a major move from yesterday's close all the way to that first move of the day. Sometimes it needs to pull back, that momentum, especially when you see this, tail up here, is not in play right out of the gates to continue higher, but it's certainly something to monitor for as it pulls back and, maybe comes into yesterday's range a little bit. A lot of times you have yesterday's close as a guide. I use that yellow line and the midpoint of yesterday, and I just look for a classic, red to green type of move. You could buy it here, and this is just what a good trade ends up looking like, when the strength is in there on the day from the open, but it needs to settle in a little bit before, continuing higher. So keep that in mind for future trades. You can see on the daily chart with an hour to go, at least for the moment, it looks like it'll be a nice green 2-up day. And at the time when you're buying it, it kind of doesn't have that look, but you're in a 2-up mode and holding the midpoint of the prior day. And there's definitely targets above to fill in this whole gap up here. So if you find the right context and you see a stock that opens up strong, you could definitely buy kind of a red to green move back into yesterday's range, and then it continues higher. It's a classic example of like an uptrend where, you've reached the top in the short, a little exhaustion risk here at the open, but the overall trend is up, confirmed by the 2-up day. And then if you can picture a 45-degree line, it's that kind of logic in play. But sometimes it works all the way back up to the highs of the day. It depends on the volatility. Other time there's enough, like this stock, enough volatility to give you a nice trade somewhere in the middle if it just pulls up a little bit. And of course, sometimes it fails a little bit. But then if it's going to fail, you're going to have a big 2-up kind of reversal day. And the key there is to try to judge the context in play to know if the stock is likely trying to go higher, or is it just a quick temporary move on an overall downtrend that's going to resume the downtrend. In this case, it was more broadening action, higher highs, lower lows, in an overall big uptrend here. And therefore, the 2-up day today probably was going to continue to resolve higher, and that's why this pullback made some sense. So those are some of the things to consider. Just thought I'd follow up as I've been watching the stock all day that it did work its way back up to that 600 area. That was a definite something to monitor for when you're buying it down here in the low 590s.